Alright, on this episode of Keller International Truck Restoration, blah blah blah, we're going to fix the cab on my truck. You might recall us a couple of weeks ago going out and doing donuts at the park, and it was a foot of snow, but there was layers of ice and chunks and gravel underneath that, and we aggressively decided to go in and out of the Antarctic territory, and the back of my cab snapped off of its mounts and squatted down around the frame, broke my floor and everything else too. So we're going to use the engine hoist and a certain idea that I have with eye bolts to rig it up, jack it up. We'll jack it up until it's hovering over its factory spot, fix everything, set it back down again, do some bolted connections, some welded connections, make sure it lasts me another 20 years, even though I'm probably on the lookout for a new cab anyway, for eventual. Someday this truck will look good, but we use it for a workhorse and a toy, and we're always wrenching on it like a hobby. So for now, we're just gonna make it functional and keep it functional. What we got here today is the cab in the back, right against the back wall. We decided to leave the frame and squat around it, so I'm not bolted down. So what we're going to do is put eye bolts through these two supports facing out, and then use the engine hoist between those eye bolts to lift the back of the cab, and then fix all this, and then put it back down. Hopefully it works. Alright, so this rig worked out perfectly. We got exactly 19 links of chain on each side to the eye bolts that are drilled through the cab in the exact same spot. So when I lifted it up, everything's self-centered and lifted it up perfectly even. And everything's back. My doors actually latch and close when I close it. And we're through this structural member right here. There's a twist to it. I'll have to obviously patch the holes I drilled through the cab later, but this back wall that used to be down a half on this side and down 2 inches on that side, and you can see now it's back just hovering a little bit higher than it is from the factory. So I'll cut out a bunch of repairs. You can see there's a spot weld right here that used to be in this hole on that support. So I'll cut out all the rot and then start putting some structure back in here, and I'll show you that later. Alright, so yesterday we had the engine hoist on here with eye bolts in these holes, and we lifted the cab up evenly, and we did some repairs in here. We got this cross member back to where it used to be sitting from the factory, where the tack welds are all lined up. I fashioned this L bracket, and that L bracket, and it's currently supporting the cab, and everything's happy. Now we're going to come in here and weld all that solid, and then put some angle from here to here in several spots to close that up, and weld it to the back, weld it to this, and then you got to do something about that rot over there, fix up a couple spots in the floor where the welds broke loose, and do a little bit to support the driver's seat again. These floor repairs are from 2012, so it's 9 years old, and some of the spots where I welded my good metal to old metal, the welds are actually still here, just the old metal dyed around it. Like you can see, that's my weld. I welded to 50-year-old metal back then, and now the 60-year-old metal has gone around those welds. So it's nothing I could have predicted back then. It is what it is. You got a 9-year-old car right now and it's a Dodge, it's probably already rusty. So this thing's 60 years old, I can't complain. So we'll show you some of those other welds later. our bolted connections welded up today. We ended up having some structural issues here. We fixed that up again. We're just booger welding because we know that we're going to be changing this whole cab at some point, but at least now we got bolted and welded all the way. Still got some holes to patch, but structurally we're in good shape. The cab used to just lift off of the frame and make a lot of noise. Now it's all nice and quiet and solid, and the entire truck moves at the same time, which is good. And I noticed that there was a bunch of problems underneath the driver's seat. So we pulled out the driver's seat and did some structural stuff. Not good floors yet because we're out of time. There's only so much time during the weekend, so I just screwed down some sheet metal quick. And I'm duct taping it, but at least it's roadworthy again. And that's it. Next time we'll have to pull the seat again and then do the floors over here. But like I said, there's only so much time in a weekend, so we were out here pretty much morning till night, 2 days in a row, and at least we can drive it again. So we have to put the trailer back on and go get something for Brody. He's been looking at a bed that's in a different state. I'm not going to give anybody any hints, but if we decide to go get that, we could probably do that now safely. So.